So for this Sandbox episode, we are excited to talk to somebody from, I think this is the furthest away from us we've ever talked to somebody. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd say further. This is definitely our first.
I'm going to say yes because I like telling you you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm saying Dominique Follow would compete. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, but we didn't talk to her over there, though.
Yeah, she was in person.
She was in the U.S. when we talked to her.
So the winner.
This is the longest time gap that we've ever had. It's tomorrow almost their time. So
it will be by the time you do this intro.
By the time we get to it. But we're talking to the founder and press relations guy for Mo Games. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Karl Lillqvist to the show. How was that?
Thank you.
How was
Glad to be here. That was perfect, actually. It's good.
Gosh, thank you.
As good as it could be. So.
All right.
Nice.
As good as it could be, which is different than perfect.
That's true, but I'll also take it.
Yeah, I would. That's a win.
So Karl, you are joining us from the great land of Sweden. Is that correct?
Yes. Not Stockholm, though. Everyone thinks Stockholm, but we're like as south as you can get, basically, in Sweden. So almost like in the middle of Europe, but no. But yeah, Sweden.
I don't know where any of that stuff is. I just know that I thoroughly enjoy your furniture. That's what I know. That's the extent.
Your furniture.
Yeah, that's just your particular furniture. Yeah. So Karl, we have a general idea of what you do, but for everybody else who's out there who doesn't know who you are yet, why don't you give them a Wikipedia page about who you are and what you do?
Yes, we are a small, I wouldn't say like game studio. I would more say of a creative studio because we do more than just a game. But what we are known for now is the game UNIMO that we released Kickstarter for this spring, and that just got out in stores just now before Christmas. And we're a collaboration between the design studio, which I represent, called Adi, and the freelance illustrator Max Grecke. And we kind of found a sweet spot where we could like make stuff together, where his amazing art could come to life, and we could create something really nice. So it's also games.
Yeah.
Can I just?
But I hope that makes kind of sense.
Can I tell you what I heard? I heard you say you found a Swede spot.
No.
Get it?
Sweet. Yeah.
Because he's from Sweden. You'll get it later. You'll listen back and it'll make sense.
Fine. I get it. Hilarious.
I absolutely think that the phrase "sweet spot" is absolutely perfect for what this is, because this game, so I held it up while you were chatting, but this game is beautiful, and it's not beautiful like in the traditional sense, like it's like beautiful imagery. The images are like scary looking monsters, but the artwork is done masterfully and beautifully, and so I'm really, really happy with how we've talked about it on the show several times at this point, back during the Kickstarter phase, and then once it came, we got the play test version of it. The
gameplay is beautiful too. Like, it's very simple, it's well designed, it's well thought out. Like, everything fits. The artwork and the gameplay fit together great.
Yeah, and I mean, like, our initial idea was to make something that was very simple. I mean, we didn't want to make something... If I can tell, like, the whole backstory, it would actually start with, like, when Pokemon Go came out, actually. So the collectible, the collector's cards become really huge in Sweden again. It got, like, a massive... Everyone had it again.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of us had kids, and they started to collect these games, but they couldn't really play it, they just collected it. And we felt that it would be sweet to make something that was a collectible, like kind of a deck builder, like Pokemon and Magic, but that would also be like a simple game that you could like play with your kids, but that the kids could play among themselves, and that we could play like at work, that would be kind of... and it was based on just like nice, beautiful imagery that also was inspired by the people buying the game. So there's also like we wanted to make a kind of like a community behind the game. So that's the short story of how it came up.
So that being the case, are you doing that through just gameplay? Are you doing something like a Kickstarter where you kind of have people rally around to try to reach goals and to get new, unlock new tiers of stuff? Is that also part of the community you're building that you're talking about? Or is there like another way outside of the gameplay and outside of that you're also building that community?
Yeah, it's actually also outside that. So, I mean, right now, for example, we have an art contest on our Instagram that's going on. It ends in like 10 days, where you're supposed to like illustrate you as your inner monster when you play.
Oh, nice.
Like your game devil, kind of. What kind of gamer are you? Like the cheater, or are you like the bad loser, or the bad, kind of that?
Bad loser, right here.
Yeah, me too. And that's like what we're doing right now, just because like the people following us, because we wanted to do this for the art, like the what do you call, like the concept art, the concept illustrations, and like because there's so many people out there that like that like this stuff, like how they want to be like better and like try to express themselves through that medium. And then also, if you could make that so that if they make something that could become a physical product, like a game that was like inspired. So it will be like, I'm not a freelancing artist, but anyway, I like influenced this game. So they made, something that I wished for, kind of,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Should I rephrase that?
No, it's great.
That's good.
I totally get that. How long was the game? So like when you guys got the idea to do a game and work, like how long before you brought Max into it? And then how long was the process total until the game was released?
Yeah, actually, the idea with Max it started 6 years ago, actually.
Really?
But then it wasn't a game. It was just that he was just like starting out, like making this like cool illustrations.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good by then as well, but now he's like amazing. So,
Sure.
But we didn't know what to do. I should say now but I was not part of the picture by then, but the company. And then 2.5 years ago, maybe, we met again, and then we said, hey, should we make it like try again and see if we can make something? Mm-hmm. And Kickstarter isn't as big in Sweden as it is in the States. I mean, for example, if you look at our backers, I think 60% is probably from the US. So from Sweden, maybe like 5 or 2 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But we like the platform. So we thought maybe that could be an interesting way of like making something. And also since the studio where I work, we're a product design studio. So like we saw that this could be an interesting way of like releasing new products maybe. But we thought that making like a new IKEA or something, that would be like a too big of a project. Sure. So, and then Max said, I don't really know. I could do like maybe a comic book or something like an art book, but it would be fun to do something that would be more of a product and more graphic and more of that. So I can use your skills. And then at that time, Pokemon Go came out, and then, as I said, we said like, hey, maybe do something where we could like a deck builder or something.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, but then the problem is what we thought that like, we played Magic, but that one was more of a dust collector than a card collector. So, so we sold that, and
that's a wicked burn.
And none of my friends play Magic. So even if I had it still, I couldn't play it with anyone.
Sure.
So it was like, maybe we could do like a deck builder, but that is so simple that you could play with anyone just like right away,
Yeah.
Like this quick kind of thing. That would also make it easier for kids to play it. But that would have that, because we love the evolution kind of thing that Pokemon has, they evolve. But we're like, hey, why stop with like 2 or 3 evolutions? We should do like 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Max loved the idea because he thought that would be a good challenge for him as well, to make like monsters based on different themes that could evolve. And actually from the beginning, it wasn't supposed to be like each word shouldn't be unique. It was more that like each character should be unique, but then the more like be like some small attribute or some color would change between the different worlds. But then we decided to make like go full out and
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2.5 years we've been working on the game.
Yeah.
But the idea kind of started earlier. So
Gotcha.
It was really cool. So we got the opportunity to get a playtest version of the game, and I think it was like, I think it came with 2 decks. Like it came with 2 creature decks or whatever. 2 monster decks, not creature decks, and most of the decks were complete, but there was also still some concept art or some not final, like work in progress art. And it's really cool because that was like a year ago probably at this point that I first got my hands on that. And to see that go from that to, this beautiful, deck is a really cool process. And I can only imagine at what point in the process of the company did you join the conversation?
Yeah, I was actually in on it from the start, actually. So it was really fun to see, like, because we wanted, since we knew that the artwork was supposed to be like, actually, like, the art was supposed to be the main focus, not the gameplay, actually. So again, it was more about the collective. You wanted to have like cool images and like to kind of have that. So we wanted to do something that will be like right up Mac's alley, something that he loved. That's why Monsters came. So actually, like a small sidetrack here, that in the beginning we had an idea of, yeah, maybe we should do something that's like more like political, maybe like include like more something that you could recognize, like some political leaders that are kind of
Sure.
But then we decided to like, no, we should make something just like for fun,
Sure.
like a casual thing.
Instead of making a statement, you're just fun. Yeah,
exactly. What was your question again? Sorry.
Well, I was wondering, I was going to lead it somewhere, but you took it somewhere else, which was fine. But I was just wondering at what point in the process you joined, you joined the team, because I kind of feel like just by the fact that I got to get a playtest version that I'm a part of the team. I like to think that I have just as much to do with this as anybody else. But that's mostly because I'm narcissistic. But I like the idea of being able to see it through that process and being able to play test it. And even the rules changed a little bit. There was some variation in the rules from when I got the playtest version to the final thing. And so it was exciting for me to see. And that prompted the question for me. I've never done a Kickstarter like this. I've never produced a game like this on this kind of level, and was just wondering how that process is for you, and do you have fun during the process, or are you like a details guy, or like where do you fall in the process? Because at the beginning of this, we said that you're the founder, but you're also the press relations guy. And press relations doesn't necessarily seem like it's the most glamorous of like game designer studio, however you want to classify that, jobs. And so I was just wondering what your level of excitement was through this process.
Yeah, no, in the beginning, since we didn't put up like a time plan or like when should we release the Kickstarter or anything, we said like when it's ready, it's ready.
Yeah.
So first we met like 1 or 2 times a week and just played over our lunch breaks, and like just like kind of we just like collected a lot of games that we liked, And I think you mentioned it before, and I think we've said it like multiple times, that this is just like a mix match of like different games, and like so you will see a lot of. I loved how you referenced to Ghost last time you talked about it. I think because that's like when I read upon it, it was like that's like basically the game. But I mean, but that's lovely, because then like if you play that, then you can play this,
Mm-hmm.
and like a bunch of other games. But so we play like maybe like once or twice a week, and like try to figure out like what would be fun like themes, and what would be fun like what do we like? Do we like the actions, or do you want to like different types? But then we realized that we needed to put more and more energy into it. And when my like part of this, it's been test playing and then also to keep in contact with all those people that we have sent the game to. So I mean,
Sure.
you are a part of the team actually, and this is what I mean with the community. Yeah. So I mean, like,
not a part of the team. Don't encourage him.
no, but I mean, this is what I would love to say. Like, people who hear this, like, we love to hear feedback and like, what could new worlds be? What could be new themes? Because we are already working on 2 new worlds that we want to release, do a new Kickstarter on, maybe like, I don't know if it will be like fall this year or maybe spring.
Sure.
Like 2019. But so I've been in contact with all these people who have been testing it. You know, they've been like a game school in Spain who tried it. There was a bunch of people who with game developers that tried it there and get feedback. And we have been in contact with some distributors that have been like, yeah, if you would modify it this way, it would fit perfectly in our portfolio and stuff like that. So I mean, it's been super fun to hear like the feedback. So when I say press relations, it's also like the relation with everyone, basically. So
Gotcha.
So this was y'all. I mean, y'all had never made a game before. I think that's one of the things correct?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of game we never made before. But 2 of the other guys at my studio, they've been part of making like a Monopoly kind of game.
Okay.
But for like Swedish games, kind of.
Okay.
So they've been a part of that. So they've been doing that. It's been a journey for all of us. I mean,
And this is your first Kickstarter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it seems like a lot of like first, even if it's just the first of you handling the entire process. So how do you? Because I think if you take a step back, like I think if I was to start at the beginning and think of the multitude of things I could imagine that would need to happen, it would be, very overwhelming. Because it's not, like you said, you had a point where you realized we have to put more energy towards this. Yeah. And so how do you take a large challenge and keep it manageable so you can stay motivated to just still reach out and do the next thing, even though it's a lot to take on, if you look at the whole picture?
I think we didn't. I think
that's an easy
now as well. I think even now we're like, oh wow, how did we do this? Like, how did we manage to do the Kickstarter and everything? Because we have to say as well that we still have our regular jobs as well. Max still do a lot of freelance stuff, and we still have the studio where we do all this product stuff. So I think it was just that we thought that we were like, that it was easier than it actually was. So we had just been going, we've been in this kind of like bubble, just like producing. So, by saying that, there's a lot of things we could have done better, like with the planning and stuff, as you said, like to keep it manageable. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
What? No, that's good.
That's great. So does that, I imagine you have other games on the horizon. So like, does that get you excited? Like the fact that you've accomplished that gets you excited to move on to the next project, I'm sure, or to enhance this project.
Yeah. And we already had like the expansions, like in our mind, like, and Max have some like ideas for new themes, which also are inspired by our community. But then we also are in the making of another type of game that is still in the same kind of theme world, but it's this version is much simpler. This is for like 4 or 5 year old, but so it's more for a kid, but still this kind of world based kind of like monsters, but so we like, and since we get so much inspiration from the community, people be like, oh yeah, you should. Someone else like said it. You should make like a calendar, and someone said, yeah, you should make an app. Like a VR app where you can see all the worlds, like in a space.
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually have a contact with some developers that said like, yeah, this sounds like a super fun. You should definitely do that. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Motivating us and going further. So
speaking of motivations, you've mentioned several times how important it is for you guys to make games or approach anything that you guys have been doing as something that the family can do together, something that people can enjoy no matter what the age. And you just mentioned working on this next game that's specifically geared toward a younger age. Does everybody on the team have kids?
Max doesn't have kids. But he's basically a kid, so
which is why he has all the time.
Sorry, Max.
But so that's a high value for you guys as a company, then. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, but they're all different ages, so I mean, that's why I think we have that span. So we have like tested it also with them as well. But I mean, because especially like the CEO for Adi, Johan, he has a little bit older kids, and he feels that just like that connection is like so easily lost with today's technology, you know.
Sure.
And I mean, there's a lot of great things coming out with that. But then he said, like, yeah, it would be fun to make something like physical, you know. So it's not like an app, because I mean, Hearthstone and all that kind of like the digital kind of also card games. But we wanted to do something that was like that you didn't need to connect, and it would be like offline, you know.
Yeah.
In a way. And I'm not saying that because maybe we are in the making of something digital as well.
Sure.
What we realized though with the like going like analog is that if you do like a printing error or something, you can't do just an update. So that's something really, so yeah.
Well, that leads
Command
into
Z is not possible.
But that's also like a challenge. So.
Yeah. Well, that leads perfect into my next kind of line of question is if somebody was going to start a Kickstarter or go into making a board game, what is some advice that you would give them? Just real basic stuff even.
I would say to make like a successful campaign is to make sure you have like a community, that you have something like someone that's already like willing to pitch in their money, you know, and who believes in the project.
Sure.
Because those like maybe first 48 hours are super crucial for your like, because if people see that other people are interested, you know, they catch on and, you know, can spread the word and everything like that. And they know also because they've been a part of your journey, you know.
Right.
As you said, Andrew, you feel like you've been part of the team as well. And that's exactly what we want others to feel. And I think that's a good thing to strive towards, to have like that community feeling.
What is your biggest way of connecting with community then? Like, how do you foster that? What are the channels that you're going through to build that community and then continue to cultivate it?
Obviously, our main channel has been like Instagram. Actually, because we're so visual in our thing.
Yeah.
And also like we try to motivate people by like having challenges, you know, like like loot crates for the one like who sends like this and not just like comment to win or something like that, but we want people to create because like we want to motivate people to make like art, you know?
Sure.
But again, for like another advice is to like make sure you have like as we talked about before here, that like to plan a little bit ahead. So when you do the Kickstarter, you kind of know what needs to be done. Because I mean, we felt in a way that we like, we have everything calculated now with the cost and everything. But in the end, there's always something anyway that screws you over in a way. So
So be ready for roadblocks.
Well, Andrew and I are reading that book, Personal MBA, currently. And one of the things in the beginning of the book is basically like, however much effort you think this is going to take, it's going to take more than that. And,
so I agree on that. So.
Be prepared to be unprepared. So we want to respect your time. We want to go and transition into our final questions. And I have a bit of it's a bit of a deeper one. Maybe not. We'll see. But I am curious. So you talk about working in the studio space. Obviously, we've been talking about this game that's been produced. We've talked about maybe producing other games in the future, apps. But that being said, typically when you think about people that work in that sphere, you think about designers and developers. I mean, that's what comes to mind. And it does not sound, I may have missed it, but it doesn't sound like you're a designer or a developer in that world. And I'm curious because obviously there's a lot of other there's certainly a lot of other people. Studios need more than that to function. But again, that can a lot of times feel like those are the people that get the recognition, or those are the people that hold all the value. And so you, right, not being in that, how do you So is that something you felt before, and how do you kind of manage those feelings, or how do you maybe understand your value, even if it feels like maybe what you do isn't as valued? Again, this might be a little personal, so I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. Actually, I am a designer, but more I do like the visual stuff. But for this project, like for Mo Games, I'm not. I'm just like the connection. And I mean, actually, I feel that it's kind of like, in one way, it's kind of a relief, you know, to have. But on the other hand, it's so fun to have like to come in contact with all these like other people that like since I do all the connections with like people who like bought the game and want to buy the game, and it's so nice to get like all that good feedback. And there is a negative feedback as well, but that's like something we want to like take to our hearts and like to make us like as good as we can be. But I agree on that when you say like, because since the artwork is so strong with the game, I mean, of course, you feel like, Max is the game, but also that's what we, you know, like his art is the game. But then there's also so much more, as you said, like behind it. And but we try to take part of it like to like not divide it as much, even though it sounds like that now. But there's also like really important because, like, for example, we didn't know like how important it was, like how big of a role it was to just like package the games later, you know, just to do that, like that's so important, you know. And also again, like to have like to get like to give quick feedback to the backers is like super important as well. And I mean that we have tried to share among us a little bit, because I mean can be overwhelming sometimes, you know, when it's like, you know, people writing all like on all platforms, you know, like Instagram, Facebook, and like, have you seen this? Have you answered that? Like, yeah, I don't know, you know. So it is super important for like everyone has their role, and I think it's and I mean like everyone has like a certain like, you know, it's like a puzzle. So, you know, like without one piece, you know, it wouldn't fit together, you know, it wouldn't be a whole thing. Yeah. So even though you feel like your piece maybe is quite a bit smaller, it's still like you need it to make the big thing. And that was super cheesy. I don't know, but you know, it's good. That's exactly how I feel, you know?
Yeah. So for my last question, I really want to know if you're a game company or a design firm or whatever based out of Sweden, and you are distributing a game that is primarily being purchased in the US, what kind of barriers and learning opportunities, we'll just air quote that, learning opportunities have you had to work through in this whole process?
I mean, like when we finished the Kickstarter and we got all this like feedback, because we knew that like our fan base were like mainly the US, then we felt like, damn, we're on the wrong side of the globe, you know. But I mean, there's all these, you know, like trade deals and all that kind of stuff that is kind of like hard to get over. But in general, I don't know, like I feel like it's super cool, I think, just to have like people, because we sold like a bunch of games to Taiwan, to a little game store there. And it's like, wow, that's super cool that we can send something, you know, that from Sweden that they will sell in a store in Taiwan. So I don't know, there's not like, I mean, maybe we're lucky, but we haven't felt that much of a like challenge, more than just that it costs a lot to send stuff, I think. Yeah, especially absolutely. When you're a small company, because I mean we're like, we are super indie, and you know, like pitching our own money, you know, kind of this kind of deal. So I mean, also every backer did their part, obviously. Oh yeah. Sure. But before that, I mean, right. But I mean, it's super bad at remembering what you guys ask me all the time.
Well, no, it's just I mean, I think you said it. I mean, the idea of even if it's as simple, quote unquote, as simple as it being way more expensive than you had thought, you know, to do the bulk of your distribution in a completely different country. That's something to keep in mind if you're planning on jumping into the world of Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is an internet deal and it's global. So you have to be prepared to think through all of the logistics that you don't even know exist.
Well, can I jump in and ask a really dumb question?
Yeah.
like if I want to be a distributor for a game, do I just like buy a 50 packs at like a discounted rate? Like, is there like something special I do?
I mean, we have some deals, but no, it depends. I mean, like the distributors we're looking for right now are like bigger ones, you know. Then we're
the
talking.
Distributor has access to retail locations. They're the people that can put the game into other stores.
Yeah,
that's what the distributor does.
But I mean, of course, if you want to buy like what
You're
is
saying
it?
If I want to buy 50 games, you'll sell them to me, which I appreciate.
Yeah, totally. Let you
But
buy
that
them.
doesn't necessarily help them.
Yeah, that would help us. Yeah, definitely. But there was something else when you talked about the. Yeah, there was also this thing like with the language thing. Because I mean, since we're Swedish, you know, and we wanted to make a game, and they were like, yeah, you know, like because in Sweden, everyone speak English. I mean, at different levels, but still, like everyone would understand it.
Sure.
So we were like, yeah, let's make a game in English because everyone knows that, right? And then what we've learned so far is that like a lot of countries would like it in there, especially since we are aiming for like a little bit of a younger audience.
Sure.
And in Sweden, you learn English quite early, so I mean, it's not that big of a problem. But that's also like, I don't know really how we should have solved it in a good way that would have been manageable. But that's also one thing we struggled with. Like so now on our webpage we have like multilingual, like downloadable PDFs with like. From like traditional Chinese to Spanish to French and Swedish and stuff. So
that's smart because the names on the cards, other than some of the card descriptions, I guess that could come into play. But for the most part, you're just naming kind of wacky monster names, and that doesn't matter. That is kind of universal,
right?
But that's also again like because like one of the other guys who work a lot with like the graphic design, like. You know, that's why we're trying to keep it simple with like kind of clear colors and like small symbols and, you know, like, and I mean, maybe we could have done even more work there, but I mean, well, you know, we could still.
No, I think it's good. Okay. So I'll wrap this up. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit simpler than both of them did. I want to know a little bit. So you said you are south of Sweden and fairly close to Sweden is Germany. And I know Essen Spiel happens in Essen. Spiel is like the big game. It's like our Gen Con. What is the culture of board games in either Sweden or Europe from your perspective? And then the second part of the question is, what was your favorite game of this last year for you personally?
And are Euro style games just called style games over there?
Yes. No, but I mean, what the culture is, I would say it's Sweden. I mean, it was bigger before. I would totally say it's been like going a little bit down.
Okay.
Especially with the analog kind of classic board games. But I know it's like still super huge because we've been in contact with some distributors and game designers in Germany, especially, and there it's like super huge. So we realized that's a huge market, and I mean, like there's been a lot of connections there. And again, like we're super sad that we missed Spiel because we got a lot of questions if we were supposed to be there, and we were supposed to be there, but since the guys who print the game also print like Disney in Europe, they had a lot of work to do. Sure, yeah. So they were like, yeah, you have to wait because we're doing our Christmas prints and everything. So we didn't have time. But otherwise, we'd have been there, and we will be there next year and on a bunch of other fairs.
Nice. Your favorite game?
My favorite game from last year, UNIMO, I think, is a great game. No, I don't know. We've been so like... I mean, what I've been playing a lot, though, is Ticket to Ride. And that's what I played last year. I know it didn't come out last year, but I've been playing
it. That's good.
Do you play the standard, or do you play a variation of it, or like an expansion of it?
I would say like the standard one. But there's also, I mean, because the standard one is the US one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick plays house rules where everyone's shirtless. That's what he's talking about. He's just trying to...
Oh, we do all pantsless here in Sweden.
No, that is weird. That is very different from what we do.
Yeah,
that's where Swedish fish come from.
That's why it smells like. No,
Oh, this took a turn, and I apologize. I know I did it. I know I did it. I just fully own it.
Before we jump in and draw tokens, you mentioned, so you said, I've never heard of this before, Spiel. I guess that's what y'all said.
Yeah.
It's news to me. But you said you're going to be at a bunch of other festivals or events over the next year. Do you want to like rattle off a list real quick of where y'all are going to be?
It's a long list and it's not like set in stone. So I don't want to say stuff, say that we're going to be in a one place and we're not going to be there. But also, I mean, we're also happy for all the tips, like for the US fairs, because there's so many in US and we don't really know which ones are really good.
Sure.
We were thinking about like,
you need
I don't know,
United States ambassadors. Because I'm sure Luke would go on behalf of Mo Games and the M of One podcast, since we're like practically the same letters. And then he can just send him a bunch of stuff and he can represent for you. I'm sure he would do that.
That would be
way
awesome.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
It's way cheaper.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll buy 50 games and take it there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly right. All right, so why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can see all of the fun stuff, how they can follow not just the game, but the design studio and all of that jazz.
You can go to unimogame.com for our webpage, and there you can find all the links to our like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and everything. Otherwise, Instagram is our main channel, so there it's Unimo Game. And then you should also follow Max Grecke at Instagram and Adididit at Instagram. Yeah, that's a hard one.
Just
maybe you can write
on the links below.
Yeah,
just
we'll have the links in the
It
show
sounds
notes.
like just clicking the D button over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But that's that. And then hopefully I will see people out on the fairs as well. So
yeah, cool.
Absolutely. Okay, well, would you do us a huge favor? And before you head out of here, would you help us draw tokens for next week?
yes, I know how to do that, but that's
amazing. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and call this part done. But up next, we're going to draw some tokens. The tokens portion every week is when we get to find out the categories that we have for the following week. And then we pick our topics based on those categories. It's pretty straightforward. And Karl, since you're here, why don't you give me a number between 1 and 3? These are our tokens, very real things. Give me a number between 1 and 3, and you'll be picking for Patrick.
3.
3, TV and film. Everybody.
The post comes out. It's going to be great. Can't
It's gonna
wait.
be great. All right, 1 and 2, and you'll be picking for Luke.
1.
Art and design. That means I have toys and games.
Nice.
Congratulations, you shuffled them up. I think that's a new one for this week, so that's good. Thank you so much, Karl, for being here. Definitely check out Unimo or Unimo, however you want to pronounce it.
They're both correct.
It's all good.
We talked about it before the show. They're both fine.
The artwork, check out Max's page. We need to just have him on at some point too, because his artwork is insanely good. The gameplay is incredible. So go pick up a copy of it, support the game, and then, hey, who knows? Find Luke at the next Gen Con and he'll have a booth set up for him. But for now, go to the links below. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to mofonepodcast.com for the show notes and links if you're not watching this on YouTube. But if you're not on YouTube, I mean, what are you doing here, right?
Right.
We're also now on Spotify. So if you haven't noticed that, if you've stumbled across us in Spotify, hey, thanks for being here. Give us a follow. Hit us up on all the different social media platforms. Just search M of One Podcast. We're everywhere. Like, subscribe, share, videos, audio, all the things.
Just tell everybody.
You know how the internet works. Just do all of the things on the internet with us and for us, and that will help us out a ton. Rate and review, do all that stuff. On top of that, if you want to support the show financially, go to patreon.com/M1 stuff there. If you do, and you can get some behind the scenes stuff as well as some bloopers and get some information early for just like $5 a month. It gets you the blooper level. That's like a cup of coffee every month, and that helps us out so much. It helps us continue to do more and more stuff, continue to create more and more content, and to have great guests like Karl on. So I think we're done with the sales pitch on this one. We're gonna get out of here. I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Luke.
And I'm Karl.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hold on to your butts.
Sweden.